The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. We'll give it a few more minutes here and then we'll get going. All right, I think I'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I think we've kind of reached critical mass here on the attendees joining. There's still a few here and there, but we'll go ahead and get rolling. I am a little under the weather this morning, so I apologize if I sound a little off, but we're going to get through this. So, welcome to the February edition of the Cybersecurity Coordinator Forum. I'm Todd Polly. I am the Deputy CISO here at TEA, and we hold this Cybersecurity Coordinator Forum every month for attendees. For the cybersecurity coordinators in the district. So this is here for you. Anyone else that's interested in cybersecurity, anyone that wants to join, you can pass this along and they can get registered and we can let them in. So let me, one last thing here before we continue. All right, we're good to go. This month, we're going to talk about normal things we typically talk about, run over the SLGTP again, some cybersecurity updates, legislative update that I have to stick in there, talk about the K-12 Cybersecurity Initiative, and then this month we have Francesca Lockhart on from the Strauss Center at UT Austin, talk about their program and what they can offer for school districts. So it's going to be good. As always, Texas ISAL, if you're not a member of the Texas ISAL, please join. We use this to pass out alerts that are collected from reporting. They also have lots of great information that they pass along, vulnerabilities and things that are active in cyberspace that you need to know. So very good sign up for. It's also part of the SLGCP, I think, as a recommendation to sign up for this as well. So please do so. Or actually made as a requirement. Cool. All right, ISF. ISF is open for registration. So if you're interested in going to ISF, it is the Information Security Forum. This is in Austin. They hold this every year. This is DIR's Information Security Forum. Lots of great speakers, lots of good opportunities for CPEs and that sort of thing. So it fills up fast. It is free, and K-12 is definitely in the list of entities that can attend for free. It does fill up fast. So if you are all interested, go ahead and sign up. It is their 25th anniversary of that. I, however, will not be in town for that, so I apologize. If you're going to there, let me know how it went. But yeah, it's always a good conference. All right, we want to go over the cybersecurity grant again. I know we went over this last month. The deadline to submit those for this year is the middle of next month, so we wanted to mention it. We won't mention it after that. Just general rundown, this was the $1 billion grant that you heard about a couple years ago from the federal government. Texas portion of that is $40 million spread over 4 years. And so our first allocation for FY22, which is the first year, which is what we're doing right now. So it's a little confusing now that we're in 2024, but it is for those funds. And so we're collecting those on the website now. So there is a match for the funding match. And so it's 10% the first year, and that'll be covered by the subrecipient. So those are who's receiving the funds. So you yourself. So but you can get reimbursed for the other 90%. And then next year will be 20, and then next year 30, and next year 40. So there's the link, and the QR code will get you to DIR's page for that has all the information that they've collected and they've presented in one kind of easy one-stop shop. Other things to mention, so eligibility requirements, you do have to sign up and participate in some CISA services. So if you have done that, and are taking advantage of those, you're definitely eligible to apply in this round. Those being the web application scanning, vulnerability scanning, and then you have to have completed an NCSR, the National Cybersecurity Review. Those are all helpful and good free resources, easy to sign up for. The NCSR might take a little longer to go through if you haven't done that. Join the Texas ISAL, as I mentioned a minute ago. And then they also strongly encourage recipients to join the MS ISAC. And then we had a question last month about was this open to charter schools? And yes, it is open to charter schools and ISDs as well. So both are eligible to apply. Wanted to outline or highlight some things that are included in the NOFO, the Notice of Funding Opportunity, which is the grant itself. And these will probably be, more favored than other things. There's multiple objectives that are listed on DIR's page. Just wanted to highlight these for your information. Implementing MFA, always a good thing. Enhanced logging, if you're setting up a SIEM or something like that. This is funding that could be available to cover that. Data encryption, transit at rest. Any kind of end of use for unsupported, hardware or software. Taking care of things that are prohibited. Credentials. System backups, and then migration to the .gov domain, which I think everyone can obtain a .gov domain at this point for free. Any local governments, I think they opened that up a year or so ago. So that is definitely the recommended things that are in the NOFO. Again, like I said, there's other things on DIR's webpage that are definitely eligible for that. So the Office of the Governor is who is implementing and running this whole thing for the state of Texas through the federal government. And that's where you will apply for these on their eGrants website. So here's a site to get set up for that. You can request an account. And then funding, once these are reviewed, we'll be reviewing these shortly. I'm on that council that's going to review those. I will obviously not be reviewing any K-12 entities in that regard, but we'll be judging those, once they start getting submitted and the RFA closes. That period closes after March 14th. Some tips that we got last month from someone that had kind of gone through this process. So once you're in the eGrants portal, you need to do these things to find the grant itself. You kind of got to search for law enforcement was the thing that seemed not quite intuitive. It says under the Criminal Justice Division. And so this is through CISA, the grant, which is a subset of DHS. So I guess that's why it landed under Criminal Justice Division. But once you do that, then you should be able to see the grant pop up that you can apply for. So wanted to mention that. So again, March 14th is the deadline on that. Question, is the changing to .gov required? No, it is not at this point. But it is. I did see that pop through at one point in a bill, but it did not pass. So, but that is not a requirement. It's just open as a suggestion. And for those of you that were here last month, we had Brian Viney had a question here about this. His presentation had some things he wasn't necessarily comfortable in sharing publicly, so I can share the slides and or the recording on that. If you didn't get a copy and you wanted to receive that, we didn't post it on our website. So if you're interested in that, please email me directly and we can get you a copy of those. All right, moving on. Vulnerabilities. So there was a recent one that came through kind of early in the month. Hopefully you've all taken care of this, but if you haven't, I know a lot of people are using FortiNet for their edge devices, their routers and that sort of thing. So there was a vulnerability in FortiOS. Hopefully you have some automatic patching turned on. If not, please go check your versions. If you're one of these versions, it has been seen to be exploited in the wild. So 6.0 through about 7.6. So go take care of that. There's a link there to CIS's, or CIS's rather, vulnerability explanation there on their CVE page. And so you can get all the details about all the different versions for that. ESCs do qualify for the grant, by the way, too. Yeah, I think TA also might, for that matter. It's all state and local governments. I think it's maybe not TA, local governments. So ESCs would apply as well. All right, moving on. Lockbit. So a week and a half ago, there was a big operation where the federal government took down Lockbit. They dubbed it Operation Kronos. They took down about 34 servers across Europe and the UK and the US. They seized a bunch of crypto wallets. But then just a few days later, this past weekend, Lockbit came back and said they've restored everything because they're a sophisticated organization. So they have collected a lot of money, and there was a quote, and I thought it was kind of funny. They've been swimming in money for 5 years, and they just got lazy. So uh, bad guys are susceptible to vulnerabilities as well. This is a humorous way to look at that we need to patch our servers because um, these are how these things get compromised. In that, they're also threatening to release some Fulton County, Georgia, high-profile information for some cases that are being held there. So if you want to look into that, but we'll see how this goes down. And then the government has claimed, just information about Lockbit, that they've had more than 2,000 victims worldwide and $120 million in payments. So good information to watch if you're interested in tracking that and looking at. Lockbit is one of the major ransomware ransomware as a service entities that are prolific around the country and around the world. All right, another cyber advisory that came through. Give me 1 second. All right, CBR, which is basically the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service. APT, I think 29 in this particular instance is Cozy Bear. They have CISA issued a advisory for how to track and look at ways that they are gaining access in the cloud environments. And so there's the link there to that advisory. Some of the techniques that they mentioned, basically they need to get it credentials. And so ways to do that is through dormant accounts, through tokens that they're able to acquire through various means, through compromised entities, and then user accounts in general. And then enrolling new cloud devices. That this is more wrapped around MFA and MFA fatigue. We've seen that come through with people getting multiple MFA alerts, a lot of times on the push, the push to the phone, push, and you just kind of click yes, and someone will eventually click yes on those. This is why Microsoft is kind of moving towards a number matching feature on most of their MFA devices. And so they present a number and then you have to match the number on your phone. And you've seen multiple phishing kind of social engineering schemes built around that where someone's trying to get that. I even was presented one of those myself when I was trying to sell something online. Someone, I'm going to verify your identity. Send me this code that you get to your phone, and it came from my Google account. I'm like, yeah, picked the wrong guy. So these sorts of things, and then residential proxies being something that's going to mimic like a Verizon or Charter or Suddenlink, one of those IP addresses where things might be locked down that way. So these are the techniques that are using there. All right. And we also want to include the local government incident reporting. This is still ongoing. This was new as of September. If anyone hasn't seen this yet, this is where you will report any incidents to TEA and DIR. So previously you just had to report things to TEA that were involved with Education Code 11.175, which is basically student information that is kind of obtained in a malicious way that is intentional. And so really broadens this out to kind of any cyber incident that is occurring in your environments. So any kind of breach needs to be reported to DIR. So within 48 hours of the incident, this includes the Raptor breaches. We've talked about this a couple of times. And so those affect each entity differently. So if you have information that any of your information was breached in any environment, please make a report. If it meets the 11.175 standard, please check that box, and then TA will get a copy of it. And then subsequently, we'll send those out if they have any good IOCs that are actionable that anyone else can participate in out to that Texas ISAL group. All right, I had a legislative update. We've been asked about this a few times. And so this TAA to the administrator addressed was released end of November, I believe, last year. So we didn't meet November, December. And so we just met last month and didn't mention it then. So here we are now. So this was HB 18 was otherwise dubbed SCOPE. It's the standards for electronic devices and software applications for minors. And so TA has released a list of standards for that. Just as, recapping what HB 18 kind of intended to do was require users to register their age when they sign up for digital media and social media. Needed parental consent. They reduced the marketing to content to minors once they're aware they're minors. And TA put together the standards as outlined in this bill as well. And so that's out there. If anyone's interested, you should be able to get there and get all that information and those standards as well. All right, give you a little update on our cybersecurity initiative. So this is still open. We're still enrolling devices. If you are under 15,000 enrollment and you need an EDR, we're here. We've got you at 20% of your student enrollment. So 15,000, that's 3,000 devices that we can get you. Minimum of 30. Smaller districts are kind of admin heavy, and so definitely give a little bit that way. And as of last week, we had 95,000 clients approved to be installed, and then about 32,000 that are actually installed and active and blocking alerts. We've seen many things where they have blocked these devices, have blocked alerts and really reduced thresholds of things happening in districts. Other cybersecurity services, we're still working on the assessments. We should have something, I think tomorrow, there should be some news that we can actually announce that we can do assessments. And I think next month in this meeting, we'll probably have some details on how to sign up for those. It's going to be the same process. So you need to get through DIR's STS portal, create an account there, get a local agreement between you and DIR so that they can provide their services to their MSS. And so if you haven't done that, please jump on that. It'll take a few weeks to get that processed. But yeah, we got a couple that have already kind of requested, previously. So I think someone's going to reach out to them soon. Anyone else, definitely can apply for this. It's not going to be open for everyone. I think it's going to be limited, but I think based on responses of other things, we'll probably be able to do quite a few of these around the state. So something to look forward to there. Also, the cybersecurity controls that we were looking at, none of these are required. These are just suggestions and ways that we can help you. And so I think the grant was issued to hire some cybersecurity personnel in the regions. And so they're going to be help doing some of these things, possibly implementing MFA, and then helping set up email security standards, configurations, and removing local administrative access. I got a note here from Lee Castillo, who is TASI, and she says, remind everyone that the superintendents will be receiving a survey link tomorrow, and the survey's for everyone. Please respond. So there you go, Lee. If you have any questions about this program, you can get to our website here through the link, the QR code, and that has all the information on how to sign up. You can send us direct questions at our cybersecurity group here at TA, or DIR specifically if you're having trouble getting signed up for the STS portal. There's DIR's address there as well. All right. Any questions before I hand it over to Francesca and she takes off? And then, yeah, Lee also reminded me all ESEs can help with any questions that you have there. So I'm going to pass the presenter power here to Francesca and she can get going. And hey, there's Francesca. Unmute yourself, Francesca.
Hi, y'all. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, this is Francesca Kraus. She is the leader of the cyber program at the Strauss Center. I'll let her tell you what she does and what she can do for everybody.
Thanks, Todd, and hello, everyone. I'm Francesca Lockhart. I'm the director of a cybersecurity clinic at the University of Texas at Austin, the Applied Cybersecurity Community Clinic. And it is based within, as mentioned, the Strauss Center for International Security and Law at UT Austin. A little more about me. I joined UT last year to serve as the founding director of this cybersecurity clinic, but I previously worked in the Texas state government at the Department of Public Safety, working on cybersecurity threats to critical infrastructure, among other things, which includes K-12 school districts. So I'm familiar with some of the challenges that you all are facing, and am so grateful for everything that you do. As a side note, my mother was also a Texas public school teacher for about 34 years, and my husband works in public education as well. So thank you again. It's very near and dear to my heart, and thank you so much for having me today. By way of a quick introduction to the Strauss Center, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with this center at UT, we are, for all intents and purposes, an independently owned and operated center that seeks to advance cutting-edge scholarship and education on campus in the areas of, you might be able to guess, international security and law. So to that end, we host public events, we host specialized courses taught by experts in their field, and we sponsor specialized research in the areas of cybersecurity, most notably for you all, and that's the program that I belong to. But we also cover a range of other topics like Texas-Mexico border policy, AI, tech and privacy, national security law, and challenges prosecuting national security threat actors, and so on and so forth. So if you take nothing else away from this presentation, we have several public events, including ones that are hosted virtually. And if any of those topics are of interest to you, please feel free to join our Strauss Center network and receive invitations to some of those public events that I mentioned. But to get to the real point here, the Cybersecurity Clinic and what I can do for you. So the Applied Cybersecurity Community Clinic is a partnership that was formed last year between the Strauss Center, the City of Austin, and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, all of whom were interested in providing free cybersecurity resilience and hygiene services to critical infrastructure providers that could not afford such services on their own or needed assistance augmenting their existing cybersecurity teams, which might be you in this case. So we developed this program as a 2-course sequence at the University of Texas to train students on basic to intermediate cybersecurity and then deploy them with clients, just like other med school and law school clinics that exist at UT and other universities. Deploy them with clients to assist them with a cybersecurity improvement project plan solution or other cybersecurity related goals that they may have in mind. So as I mentioned, over the course of 2 semesters, our undergraduate and graduate students from across the University of Texas first learn cyber defense fundamentals, and then they partner in teams with community organizations, critical infrastructure operators, even small businesses in and throughout Texas to render free cybersecurity services. Just as a quick preview of how the program is going so far, I mentioned that we just launched last year. We had 19 students in our first foundations course. So they learn everything from conducting a risk assessment and an asset inventory to doing vulnerability scanning and management, securely configuring networks and endpoints, writing different policies like password and incident response policies for their clients. We go over access control frameworks and several other topics that I will cover further on in the presentation as well. And then these 19 students deployed this spring with our first 5 clinic clients. So we are currently serving 2 small businesses, 1 faith-based organization, and 2 municipal governments. And we started, due to high demand on campus, a new cohort in the foundations course this semester. So I currently have 18 students enrolled in the first course of the clinic, the foundations course, which will translate into the reason I'm here today. We are aiming to serve 6 new clients in the fall 2024 semester, which will run from August to December of this year. Luckily, we are again in a position where we're seeing a lot of student demand for participating in this program. So we will also hope to start up to 32 new students in the foundations course this fall, and they will serve clients next spring, and so on and so forth with this concurrent run. So outcomes and successes for our program and where you may come in. One, of course, is we want to provide students an experiential education that they may not otherwise get in a traditional classroom setting. They're working hands-on to implement cybersecurity controls and assist an existing organization with their cybersecurity goals and needs in an internship for credit-like structure. To that end, we also, of course, hope to improve the regional, Texas cybersecurity resilience and defensive posture, particularly among critical infrastructure and public organizations like school districts. CISA understands, and we understand, that availing your organization of CISA services and DIR services may be a huge lift, and our students can help serve as force multipliers for taking advantage of those services, as well as providing more customized and unique services for your organization that are rendered by our students over the course of their service semester with you. And then finally, of course, I'm sure we're all aware that there's a very large cybersecurity workforce gap in the United States. CyberSeek estimates, I believe most recently, that number of open cybersecurity jobs is at about 570,000. And Texas itself has only about 72% of the cybersecurity workforce that it needs to fill all open roles within our state alone. So of course, we want to track our students into the cybersecurity workforce and provide them a pipeline to mentors and organizations that may be hiring cybersecurity professionals and can assist them in providing high quality, top-notch free services during their clinic semester. As far as what we can do for you, so we have mapped the CompTIA Security Plus curriculum, which is essentially the kind of most widely recognized, industry accepted, vendor neutral entry level cybersecurity certification out there. We've mapped that curriculum from the Security Plus exam and credential onto the NIST cybersecurity framework. And for those of you who have followed along in our very busy and insane cybersecurity news week that we just had, which Todd provided several items from, another big development this week was that NIST actually released version 2.0 of its famous cybersecurity framework, which is its first update in its 10-year existence. And what NIST did was added that governance piece. So how do you develop policies that contribute to robust compliance and governance of your security environment once you move through the other portions of the framework? So I've indicated where governance comes into our curriculum with that asterisk, but we cover in the foundations course and then in turn are able to offer services in the area of identify. So as I mentioned, do an asset inventory and a risk assessment for you. We also run through and spend the majority of class time on the protect section of the framework. So going through all of those goals that were mentioned as part of the state and local cybersecurity grant program as kind of must-haves in your environment. Strong encryption, a password policy and strong password management and access control techniques, privacy policies for storing sensitive client, customer, student, teacher data, managing onboarding and offboarding and authorization schemes for having new individuals introduced into your security environment. We go through vulnerability scanning and patching and developing a vulnerability management program or standard operating procedure. We go through all of the securities, whether it's a network that you have on site, a mobile device management security problem that you're having, or a cloud security environment that you want to shore up and ensure is securely configured. We look at examples of doing all of those. And then mostly because the students think it's fun and several of them are interested in ethical hacking, we go through developing a penetration testing plan to ensure that your protections that you put in place actually work. As far as the other portions of the framework, we go through detecting cybersecurity incidents and training cybersecurity staff on how to do that using endpoint detection and response tools, intrusion detection and prevention systems. We go through logging and log storage best practices using SIM tools and automatic tools like SOAR. And then we go through the all-in-one silver bullet types of solutions like UTMs, which cover firewalls, antivirus, logging, et cetera, for an organization, particularly a smaller organization that might desire such a tool to automate a lot of their cybersecurity response. Speaking of response, We go through incident response planning and awareness training. We'll go through digital forensics basics. So what are the what's the procedure that you should run through if you experience a cybersecurity incident to ensure that you're capturing relevant data as far as who is responsible and turning that over to the appropriate authorities to assist with investigation and recovery. And then we go through recovery. What should your call tree look like? How do you plan for business continuity in the event of a disruption? Where are backups located? And what other services, including from CISA and DIR, are out there to assist you in recovery and doing an after action review to shore up your controls or implement new cybersecurity tools or controls that can help you ensure that you're not victimized with a cybersecurity incident in the future. So the students essentially take a survey course around all of these different areas. And the way I like to think of this is they come out of our foundations course with a menu of options that they can pull from a la carte to design a custom cybersecurity solution for their client in their service semester. So whatever your cybersecurity goals or program currently looks like, the students are able to meet you there or help you generate goals and a framework from scratch if that happens to be you. And they will work together with you to not only do design and implementation of the project plan, but also empower you and your staff with training, education, awareness, resources, how-to guides, everything that you need to be successful following the departure of the student team to actually maintain those controls, maintain those plans that they draft for you, and perhaps practice them on occasion as well. So some examples of what these deliverables look like. One is every student team develops a written report at the end of their service semester that covers the assets that you might have, the risks that the students identified to those assets, different controls that they implemented to mitigate some risks, and then of course there might be some residual risks which will be addressed through follow-on services or more advanced services from CISA and DIR and others. And so they practice this process with a final project in the foundations course where they produce that written report for a fictional small business that I've named after my dog, Ballot. And you can see some screenshots from examples of those reports that the students have generated and what that might look like for you. As far as controls, here's an example table that they've developed for that fictional project and then will replicate for their real client organizations this semester. They sort the controls into the different areas of the NIST cybersecurity framework that I mentioned. They will give a cost estimate, which we are happy to enter a cost sharing agreement or cover in full, depending on the needs of our client organizations. And then they'll go through, of course, an explanation as to why they're recommending this control, why it might be needed, and then what kinds of maintenance it might require in the future. Along with this table, the students also provide a timeline for implementing these controls should they be accepted by the client organization. And they also identify who within the client organization will need to either approve or assist the student team with implementing the control and then maintaining it into the future. So I understand that several of you might have cybersecurity goals or be applying for the state and local cybersecurity grant program, or you might just want to learn where to start with developing and maturing your information security program at your district or at your ESC. And in that case, we would absolutely love to partner with you and have you all be a cybersecurity clinic client with UT Austin. So please reach out to me. I have my contact information at the end of the presentation if this sounds like a good fit for you, or you're just looking for general resources or curriculum that I can share with you that you can use to help train your team in-house on your own. I'm happy just to provide some consultation and feedback on different plans that you might already have in the works for bolstering your cybersecurity at your district or ESC. But we would also love to officially get you registered as a clinic client organization and deploy one of our amazing student teams to work with you all starting this fall. That said, if you scan this QR code, you can find more information and everything that I just covered about the clinic on our Strauss Center website. I also have my email on the slide here. It's francesca.lockhart@austin.utexas.edu. And you can learn more information about the Strauss Center in general, as well as other cybersecurity clinics like ours that are active in and around the United States by visiting cybersecurityclinics.org. This is our collective website where you can find different curriculum, resources, and information about cybersecurity clinics, more and more of which are coming online at universities across the country every day. And the last thing I'll mention in anticipation of any questions would be, we do not just serve the Central Texas area. We can render our services virtually throughout Texas, as well as in person should you be located in the Austin or Central Texas areas. So if you're concerned about giving students access to systems without them being on site, please still feel free to reach out to me, and we can work through some of those privacy considerations and remote services concerns together. So again, we're open to any of you based in Texas, whether you be an ESC, a school district, or an independent school that happens to be on this call. And I look forward to answering your questions and hopefully hearing from you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Francesca. There's a question. Someone was asking, as far as the students actually do the asset inventory, and if so, does it include hardware and software, or is it more just a review of the inventory process?
The students will actually, it depends on your preference, so they will do the asset inventory for and alongside you, and it does cover hardware, software. It also covers sensitive data, so where are you storing sensitive data? It will also cover personnel, if so desired, where are key personnel within the cybersecurity team located, what are their contact information, and how does that call tree look if there is an incident. They will absolutely run the gamut, and they'll complete that and hand it over to you, or they'll complete it alongside you and assist with talking to the relevant folks and gathering that information. But all of those deliverables, including the asset inventory, are given to you all to, of course, keep at the end of the semester and hopefully keep up with.
Awesome. Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any in right now, but if we have any other questions for Francesca or myself or anything we presented today, we're a little short, which is fine. We'll give you some time back if there's nothing else going on.
Thanks again, Todd, for hosting me.
So yes, thank you, Francesca. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Hopefully some school districts can take advantage of what you guys are offering. That would be really, really cool.
Great, thank you. I see some emails coming in, so please keep them coming. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Well, that's all we got for this month. We will be back next month. I believe Melinda will be around. I will be out of town, and we'll talk about assessments and various other things. So we'll see you then. Thank you, guys.